On this episode of the John1911 Podcast, VEPR banned in the U.S., North Dakota selects the SIG P320, everyone knows I love a good bullfighting story, and suicide by fentanyl patch? Good morning, everybody. This is Marky and Freeze, and this is episode 66 of the John1911 Podcast. How's it going, Freeze?
Going good.
Good. I am actually dragging butt this morning. I stayed up too late last night, and then I had to deal with a bunch of stuff this morning. So I'm just like, ugh. I'm finishing up my first couple of. I didn't even get coffee early this morning. I tried to sleep in. So
yeah,
you may have to keep the peppiness going on my end, so we don't sound like a couple of corpses. So let me tell everybody how my first conversation with Free started this morning. He calls me and he's like, "Hey, we going to do a podcast?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Did you hear about the girl that was killed by the whipped cream can?" And I told him to shut up, save it for the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some freaky deaths. Have they?
Okay.
Is more come out of that?
Not really. Okay, look. First off, it's a whipped cream dispenser, not really. It's not like a can of Ready Whip. It's one of those dispensers that you put a CO2 cartridge in, and you add like heavy cream and sugar, and they use them in restaurants and coffee shops for fancy whipped cream toppings.
Okay.
And that's what exploded. And apparently, it hit her in the chest and caused a cardiac arrest. Basically, gave her a heart attack. Is what they're saying.
She was like a fitness model or something.
Yeah, she was, an internet model. She did like a bunch of Instagram stuff and I think some YouTube stuff. And she was a French model, I believe.
So basically, she does what we do, but she was sexy and more successful at it?
Well, yeah, because basically, she has boobs and rather large ones, which really, I mean, that thing must have exploded with a lot of force because she had two airbags that, should have stopped it. Yeah, okay, you can't hear the drum roll.
Yeah, I think I did. I guess this is a shout out to the Trial Lawyers Association of America because I heard that they were saying that this was a product that was recalled or this became a known issue in 2010 and they made hundreds of thousands of these things, but only 25,000 of them came in. But there were reports like some woman or some guy had a bunch of teeth knocked out by one of these, like a bunch of teeth, and another person had 3 or 6 broken ribs and a cracked sternum. It's like I've seen people take a full hammer kick to the center of the chest and not break their sternum.
Okay, well, first off, here in the United States, we're pretty good at recall notices. But, I mean, how obligated are you if you recall a product and this product that's in another country malfunctions? I mean, I don't know. How do you send recall? I mean, you can put it online, but if someone in France is using your product and it malfunctions.
Yeah, I don't know this specifically, but it was implied that it's a French-made product used by French people. Like, I don't think it's made in China. But, it could be.
Okay. I mean, who knows?
Since we're talking about crazy stuff on the internet, did you see the bullfighter that died in France? The Spanish bullfighter?
Yeah, I did, and I thought of you, and I thought, Jesus, he's going to post a video or a post or talk about it because he just fucking loves this.
I like bullfighting. I don't like seeing bullfighters get gored. It's not. See, a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm glad the bull won." See, I actually enjoy bullfighting. And let me tell people, if you're new to this podcast, as we are growing a little bit, I'll just give you the real short version. Okay, I'm a little jaded, and I see things for how I think in my mind. I see things how they are, as opposed to what people want you to think they are. And if you ever objectively if you're a guy listening to this and you follow sports, most a significant number of guys follow sports. I'm not a big professional sports person, but if you have a hometown team, I'm not begrudging that. But if you watch ESPN or any of these sports, report things or whatever, it doesn't matter what time of year it is. It doesn't matter what game it is. It doesn't matter what series. Every game, when these guys are talking, it's the most important game in the history of the human race. It's the most important, match, the most important this and the most important that. And it's exhausting because it's like, no, it's not. You guys are just full of shit. And, I get to a point when I kind of disrespect it. Because one thing I like about bullfighting is it's forever. I mean, it's for real. That is no joke. It's from a different culture and a different time, and I understand that I'm in the minority on this, but I find it highly intriguing. Actually, this guy that died, we've ended up posting a video of him in the past, or a story about him in the past on our old Tactical T-Shirts page. He'd gotten injured a couple years ago by a bull. So,
when you say we, you mean you, because I could give two shits about bullfighting. I mean, look. Look,
I don't know shit about NASCAR.
Look, I'm not some animal rights guy. I don't really give a shit if you stick swords and spears in a bull and jump on its back and cut its throat. I don't give a shit. Go for it.
Not how it works.
Go for it. I like steak just as much as the next guy, but bullfighting doesn't do a damn thing for me. I understand that a bullfighter gets into a ring and he runs the risk of dying. But the truth is, I don't really see it as a sport. I mean, I could jump in a ring with a pit bull and I'm probably going to get ate up, but I'm 98% positive that I'm going to come out the winner in the long run. I just don't really see it as whatever. If you like bullfighting, cool, go for it.
As an organized sporting event, and I recognize it's a different. I don't see it in terms of like the 21st century and the internet and what people think. I find it extremely interesting. I don't root for, I don't sit and watch a lot of bullfights, but if I do watch one, it's amazing to me. You watch just because, I've been around. A lot of these city folks have never been around a big goddamn bull.
Yeah.
A bull kick your, I had an uncle as a kid, as a teenager, a bull, or a cow, I think it was a cow, actually did like a sideways, I don't know what snap kick with his leg.
Cows kick sideways. A lot of people don't realize that.
And snapped his leg. Boom. It was just,
Yeah, you never stand on the side of a cow by its back legs because they kick out to the side and they will hurt you. I grew up around farms. I grew up around animals.
Yeah.
And, I used to always get amused when I was younger and in school. Kids would lie. And by the way, anyone listening who has a friend that said they've actually gone out cow tipping is a liar.
You can't do that.
You can't tip a cow. First off, go into a field at night with cows. You'll be lucky to walk up onto one, unless they're freaking pet cows and they're used to being handled by people. You're not even going to be able to get close enough to them. And two, you can't tip one over. It just doesn't work that way. Anyone who says, oh, yeah, I did it, is a liar. I'm calling them out right now on the podcast. They're a liar. Show me.
You're breaking up. Yeah, we lost you there for a second.
Okay. Well, all I'm saying is if you want to convince me that you've tipped a cow or one of your friends has tipped a cow, show me video proof and I'll redact the statement. Otherwise, I'm going to call you a liar to your face. It just doesn't happen.
I've heard that phrase. I just don't even know what, I don't actually.
It's one of those urban myths that the cool kids in grade school and high school like to tell people they did to make them look cool. That's what it is.
It look cool where? At Kansas Corn Elementary? I don't know what the hell that even means.
In suburban America, where most kids have never been around farm animals, I guess it's cool to say they went to their uncle's farm or they were out drinking beer and they rode up on this farm full of cows in the middle of the night and decided I don't know. But look, and whatever. Yeah. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
But like I'm saying is, I understand that there's a certain danger when you get into an arena or a corral or a pen with a big ass bull. Bull hurt you. Especially, you figure a lot of these bulls in these bullfights, man, a lot of these bulls, are 1,800, 2,000 pounds. They're big bulls, and the truth is, I just don't see it as a sport. It's kind of like,
it's not a sport because you die. Nobody dies playing baseball.
But you know what?
Nobody died in NBA finals.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I don't see it as that. I mean, I look at bullfighting the same way I kind of look at, hunting over bait. Whatever. It just doesn't do anything for me.
You know what? Since we're on bitter freeze commentary, this woman hasn't made our podcast in a while. Megyn Kelly, dude, is getting her ass kicked. Have you seen any of that?
Oh, my God, yeah. Okay, look, anyone who listens to the podcast know that I'm not a fan of Megyn Kelly, and I've never been a fan of Megyn Kelly. I mean, even going back years, I just can't stand her snarkiness and that little snarky sideways smile. I mean, I've hated Megyn Kelly for a long, long time.
This is true. You hated her back when she was super popular.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Never been a fan of Megyn Kelly. Never met her. I don't know. She might be the nicest person in the world if you meet her in person. But she's snarky. I've known people like her, and it just annoys me. But anyway, look, she's done what? Since she left Fox, she's done what? Two or three major interviews, with people, and
she got her ass handed to her by Putin, first of all.
She got her ass handed to her by Putin.
She's like, do you ever have a bad day? And he's literally like, I do not have bad days. I'm not a woman. And it's just like, because I mean, look, Vladimir Putin is no dummy. And, I mean, he's a smart dude. And, he runs a country, and he's got handlers, and they prepared for that interview. And they went from all the way from, they were like, how could this go? This could go from, Bill O'Reilly to, I'm screaming at you, no spin, F you, stop lying, all the way to Oprah to the other side, the spectrum, and they're prepared for whatever image they want to portray. They're not going to, what's going to happen here? Like, he's going to break down and be like, yeah, when the Berlin Wall fell and I was really sad and I cried and you know what I mean? It's like, you're not going to have this Oprah moment with this dude,
Yeah.
And he just judoed right back. I don't have bad days. I'm not a woman. It was just like, she interviewed Alex Jones, and Alex Jones kind of just stuck a wrench right in the spokes of their bicycle. Dude, Alex Jones about derailed her career.
Yeah. Look, here's the problem. She wants to be like Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly. She wants to have a show like theirs.
I think she wants to be like Barbara Walters. She doesn't want to be like Sean Hannity. If she wanted to be like Sean Hannity, she'd stay at Fox. She wants to be Barbara Walters.
Well, yeah, but the problem is Barbara Walters was a good interviewer, and she's not. Okay, and I know I'm jaded because I don't like the woman. But listen to her. I mean, if you watch the Putin interview, if you watch the Alex Jones interview, she's just not. I don't know, man. She's just not a good interviewer, and maybe that's because she's always trying to get that aha moment. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but but her ratings are in the freaking tank.
I heard a couple things, because I know people that are in that industry. They have trades and all kinds of stuff. I mean, nothing's like a big secret. Like when the director of Fox News is in trouble for having all of his, I'd call them sexual harassment escapades.
Yeah.
You'll notice that like CNBC or NBC, ABC, CBS, they didn't throw too many bombs his way, because there's a lot of skeletons in those channels too. But the word is that if this doesn't turn around, they're going to throw her over on MSNBC. That if she doesn't get some traction and get some ratings, is the next like network personality on the network side, she's going to end up at MSNBC with a political show.
Let her and Rachel Maddow do a show together.
Which Rachel Maddow would have a cow. Rachel Maddow runs MSNBC. A lot of people don't know that. She obviously her name isn't on the letterhead, but she's the queen bee at MSNBC, and there would be a lot of drama. Rachel Maddow likes being number one over there. Biggest fish in a little pond, and Megyn Kelly would totally destroy that. And and the truth be told, if you ever watch MSNBC, like a lot of their anchors, they look alike. Did you ever notice that?
Yeah.
Like they all have the same goddamn haircut, whether it's a guy or a girl. And I'm just I think the cool kids over at MSNBC would be pissing in her Wheaties over there. I think that would be a terrible situation. But anyway, check this out. I heard that Alex Jones, I don't know a whole lot about Alex Jones. He's like the one guy that's never actually fucked with us. Like we've never had any. I don't know a whole lot about any of their stuff.
Look, Alex Jones doesn't even know who we are,
which is probably a good thing.
Yeah,
but dude, this guy. Look, when you are a parent, when everybody's out to get you, you're set up. So apparently her and her crew, they showed up over at the Alex Jones, wherever they're at, studios, because I guess he runs kind of like it's like the Blaze, like a TV channel.
Yeah. He's got his InfoWars and he's got his radio program, and he's set up a lot like Glenn Beck is with his media empire.
Like I'm doing the podcast in the Armory. We're not in a quote studio.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so her crew shows up, and they get there at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and this whole building is set up. They've got areas to do recordings, they've got areas to do broadcastings, they got areas to do, to cut commercials. So they've got all. Basically, they claim that they mic'd her and her entire crew.
Yes.
From the moment they walked into the building to the moment they walked out, they recorded everything in every room. And they basically said, we dare you to shit on us because we're going to release. I don't know if he ever actually released all of the tapes.
I don't know if he released all the tapes, but the interview was aired on Sunday, and I think it was Friday before the interview aired. He publicly announced that they recorded everything, and if they come in there and do typical, creative editing, or if they try to make him look bad by manipulating what he says, he would release the entire everything.
Yeah.
And let the people hear what was really said. And that frightened them.
They apparently, because he did release one of the conversations on the phone, where they were negotiating. Like her people talk to his people. Can we not? Do you really think we can? Do you promise? We promise. Whatever. Let's have my boss call your boss. It's kind of like you arranged the pre-call. So that was the big call, and he had the big call recorded. And it's interesting because I don't know where is Alex Jones physically based at.
I don't know. Don't care.
And I'm pretty sure that Megyn Kelly, while her show may be based in New York, I am fairly certain she lives in New Jersey. And a lot of people don't know this unless you live in New Jersey. New Jersey is one of the few states where it is legal to record all telecommunications conversations without permission. Which, probably tells you something about New Jersey. He did a great job on her.
Well, they did, but I don't necessarily know if any of that mattered, and here's why.
I think they you know what? They didn't report this. This is what I think. I think they got word of what was going to happen in this. He basically released all this stuff, got a big publicity bump out of it, and then NBC on Friday and Saturday and all day Sunday morning, they recut that episode.
Well, okay, so on Sunday night with Megyn Kelly rolled in a whopping 3.5 million viewers. But up against them, ABC was doing a rerun of America's Funniest Home Videos. And if anyone has seen that show, it's horrid. That show.
I like that show. I don't watch TV, but when I've seen it, I like it.
Okay.
I like bullfighting, and I like little kids falling in the pool.
Okay, America's Funniest Videos is the greatest show ABC ever created. How's that?
That's better. I feel better.
Okay, but the rerun, mind you, this is a rerun that everyone has already seen.
Yeah.
Rolled in 3.7 million viewers.
I heard 60 Minutes had a rerun, and she lost that. That as well for the second time.
Yeah, well, 60 Minutes, it was a rerun, and that was, oh man, they killed her. They rolled in 5.3 million viewers. But Fox ran the U.S. Golf Open Championship coverage, and they rolled in 6.1 million viewers. Dude, people watched golf over Megyn Kelly. Think about that. Twice as many people showed up to watch golf than listen to Megyn Kelly interview Alex Jones. See, that tells you, one, how much people think of Megyn Kelly, and two, how much people really think of Alex Jones.
There's a lot. The fundamental problem with Megyn Kelly is, look, she was real popular. She built up when she was at Fox, she was popular. She'd built up a good brand. She'd built up a following. She'd built up credibility. People thought she was pretty good. However, everyone also feels, and this has nothing to do with the whole diddle issue over there at Fox. A lot of people feel that she did them dirty on the way out the door, and so she didn't bring her fans with her. And that's going to be the real question. Can you leave Fox News? Because it used to be, look, in the industry, in the trades, and in that business, it always was, cable's kind of second fiddle because the real numbers are in network. We made Oprah a billionaire. But, stuff's changing now. And, what was it? I heard this stat the other day. I think more people are signed up for Netflix than are signed up for cable service. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Between Netflix, Hulu, and a couple other Firewire and stuff that I'm not really savvy with, but I know, I bet I know 15 people that don't have cable or satellite. They get all their TV from either the internet, via Netflix, Hulu, and there's probably a half a dozen other outlets, and it's cheaper. They get better coverage, according to them. They get, I guess the biggest drawback is a lot of, like Amazon Prime, Netflix. The thing is, a lot of the shows, unless it's one of their original shows, you're a season behind on everything. Like if you're watching, like on Netflix, if you're watching Supernatural, you're not watching the current season, you're watching last season. So, you know,
you watch it on your own time. Well, here's the thing. So, like, I've been, because we now post to YouTube. I mean, I do it begrudgingly, but look, it's where the people are. We're posting videos. We're doing more stuff. And I've noticed since you've used YouTube a lot over the years. I've kind of been using it the past year, and I noticed over the past 12 months at some point they started the whole, hey, sign up for YouTube Red.
Yeah.
And because they're trying to get people. YouTube doesn't make money. They're trying to, make that a profitable business, and they're going to start doing. YouTube is going to start making their own content, their own custom content, the way Netflix is. YouTube's going into the full-blown TV business on their own, and they're going to try to hook in. They've signed deals with some of these networks to maybe bring their news or whatever on board. Facebook's going to do the same thing.
Sure. I mean, and
they call it's called OTT. It's called I think it's called On the Top, OTT. Basically, the idea being that your people are going to have a box on top of their television that's going to be a Facebook box, or it's going to be an Apple TV box, or it's going to be a YouTube box.
Nah, there ain't going to be no freaking box. I mean, with the advent of smart TVs,
they'll come out with their own TVs. I mean, they'll come out with TVs that are regular TVs, but they will be, preloaded with stuff.
Exactly. Like my TV is loaded with like Netflix, Amazon Prime, iHeartRadio, and
there you go.
Plus then I can log on to the internet and get, Facebook, YouTube. I mean, I can get all that shit on my regular TV. It's a smart TV, and I'm sure. I mean,
and this kind of goes back to where we started with Megyn Kelly, and she kind of signed into this old style business model and jumped over to these broadcast networks. Man, that we'll see. That may have been a huge mistake.
Well, I told you probably a couple of months ago when this all went down that it was a mistake and she was going to suffer a slow death, and you're like, well, I don't know, blah 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 blah, like you always do, and and it's like, well, we'll see. We'll see who's right. And right now, and you still could be right. I don't know. We'll see how she does. But the truth is, she's not doing a good job at this point in time.
Oh no. I did. Yeah, you're right. Because they love her. She's got a good look. She's smart. She ticks all the boxes. It's turnkey, and it's like they need an Oprah. They need to replace Barbara Walters. They're trying to figure out who, because what was it like? Katie Couric had all these problems. Like Katie Couric tried to leave morning news, morning TV, and go to like real serious television. It wrecked her career.
Yeah,
I mean, it cut her career about 15 years short. So, hey, you want to hear something fun about NATO that happened this week?
Man, is there anything fun about NATO?
This time there is.
Okay.
The Russian Minister of Defense. It's Sergei Shoigu. To me, his name always looks like the name of the Japanese carrier. Shoigu. He's a pretty interesting looking dude. I mean, he's the guy that's got the scar in his face and he wears the hat, and you're like, Jesus Christ. Well, he was flying, so he's like their Secretary of Defense. He's flying to the Kaliningrad, which is a little enclave at the borders. Is it Lithuania and Poland or whatever it is? So he's flying, and NATO sent up an armed F-16 to escort him across international airspace, just to make a point, be like, "We see you, motherfucker." And he had armed escort with him. So they claimed that the NATO aircraft fled the area, but the NATO basically they've noticed that there's a lot more activity up in the Baltics. And they are making a concerted effort to put eyes on every radar track, to confirm what it is. So, they're I'm pretty certain they knew this was this dude's plane because it squawked it, and they're like whatever. Sure. But they want to make sure that they're not, that's a transport or that's a civilian airliner squawking out of St. Petersburg or whatever, and like, holy shit, it's a troop transport. You know what I mean? So you put eyes on it, and it was just a little fuck you to this guy, and they tried to, but it just made me happy. I mean, it's our listeners probably don't give two shits, but I was like, that's fucking awesome. So because this guy, I just like sticking it to this guy. If you saw this guy's face, you'd be like, yeah, I'll stick it to that motherfucker. Hey,
why not?
Do you still have your VEPR shotgun?
Yeah.
Have you seen what's been going on the internet? Let me see.
No, not really.
So, the Democrats are all pissed off because they're all like Russia, 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 and we didn't lose the election. The Russians cost us the election.
Yeah, whatever.
And all this kind of stuff. So, we put sanctions on Russian companies after they moved into Crimea, and then I guess we put some sanctions on Russian companies after they supposedly, the little green men, showed up in eastern Ukraine, whatever. Well, they have, they're now, it's now bipartisan because they're, let's see here, the argument inside of Washington, D.C. is Russia hacked the election. Whether you're a Republican or Democrat, this is now accepted, talking point. What if the Russians hacked the election, what they really did is they just broke into Hillary's fucking email server and proved that they're all a bunch of goddamn liars, that we all knew. Well, The bottom line is the U.S. Treasury has released an update to their sanctions list.
Yeah,
and they're basing it off the Ukrainian conflict, but now VEPR. What's the company called?
Merlot.
It's not Merlot. It's saying it's Malot. Merlot.
That's the wine.
That's the title of the freaking podcast. Hold on, Merlot. So, are you drunk?
No.
So. I mean, I'm not a big AK guy, and there's not too many. I mean, you know what I mean? I just don't think Russian guns are that good. I mean, I wouldn't mind having one of those more modernish sniper rifles. I don't know what they call like the, but I mean, there's some of them are like AKs, and some of them they're not like SVTs, but they look like AKs to me, but they have thumb-hole stocks, But I guess there's PSLs, and then I don't even know the difference between them all. I can't tell one from the other. But, it's like, I guess here we go. FIME Group and the U.S.-based importer Molot, M-O-L-O-T. So you were close. Have been, text from is posted below. Let's see here. They looks like they're naming... Okay, they've got they're doing business as Kalashnikov concern, so they were at SHOT Show. So how does that work? Like, can you ban them from operating in the United States if they're here? Because I thought Kalashnikov concern was setting up manufacturing in the U.S.
Yeah, they were, or did.
Or were they just really more of like an import company, kind of like HK USA? HK didn't make shit in the U.S., and they're trying to set up a factory in Columbus, Georgia.
From what I understand, and I'm no expert on this, but the whole thing about Kalashnikov concern setting up in the U.S. is so they could manufacture Kalashnikov AKs here, since we can't import them. They're going to be U.S. made.
So that's interesting. So, I mean, does this entity exist in the U.S., and can it continue to function in the U.S. if it doesn't send any money back home to Mother Russia? That's an interesting question. I mean, well, I just don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm not that interested in it. I mean, I think we should probably drop the whole Chinese Tiananmen Square frickin' weapons ban from China. Walmart can sell us all kinds of cheap shit made in China, but we can't get guns from fucking China. We can't get AKs from China.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, we couldn't even get AKs from China to fucking give to people in Afghanistan, and fucking China borders that fucking country.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just retarded. So.
Yeah.
But Trump showed up in the NRA, didn't say anything, so whatever.
Yeah.
So tell me this: do you think Robert Mueller leaked stuff on Donald Trump?
Probably.
I think so too. I think, or not Mueller, Comey. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. George. What's his name? What's Comey's first name? Lurch? No. I'm sorry.
Lurch.
Hey, like he's never heard that before. Well, he's like 6'8".
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah. My phone's just got tapped by the FBI. Fuck.
Oh, man. Oh, dude. Seriously?
Yeah, so. Anyway, I just was curious.
No, but I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, I think James Comey did leak shit. I mean, but look, I'm so over this whole leaking shit. The Russians this, I leaked that. Look, I mean,
it comes up just because we're talking about the VEPR thing now, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on it.
I mean, it's just like, man, I'm just so tired of it. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit.
Well, this is what gets the left all in a tizzy, because they're like, they seem to think that any day Trump's going to be impeached and removed from office. Just like dude, this is true. Our side was guilty of this bullshit too. How many people on our side of the aisle we had to listen to for 8 fucking years? Literally, Obama is 6 months left in his second term, and people were like, impeach Obama.
And
shut up.
If we could go back and count the times that the phrase impeach Obama was posted on our Facebook page, it would be in the millions.
It wouldn't be the millions. Maybe it'd be 100,000.
No, I bet it'd be in the millions. Dude, every time some political post came up, some chode rolled in with impeach Obama. Dude, think about it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole he's born in Kenya thing, which, okay, maybe there's something to that. Maybe they fudged the birth certificate and made the whatever. But at the end of the day, you and I both know it doesn't fucking matter. His mother is a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, exactly.
He could have been born on Mars.
Exactly.
But all these hilljacks running around saying he can't be qualified to be president. And it's like, well, actually, the problem is constitutionally, when the Electoral College certifies the results, it's over.
Exactly.
You can't undo that.
So, I mean, look, Donald Trump is not going to be impeached.
Well, did you hear what the mainstream media is doing now, dude? I tell you what, I don't know if it's a good idea.
Well,
they're throwing Bernie under the bus. The news story is, because they know they're getting their ass handed to them on this left wing violence. So now what they're doing is they're saying the violent culture that we are experiencing now is all the result of Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders supporters, not the Democratic Party. And it's like,
yeah, and that's going to fly just as well as saying, well, you know what, the loss we took in Georgia is equal to a tie, and that shows we're going to win big in the midterms. I mean, you can make up anything you want and say it. It doesn't mean middle America is going to buy it. Sure, L.A., New York, Dade County, Chicago, they're all going to suck it up and jack off in a corner while they listen to it. But the truth is, no one else is buying it. And if people were buying their bullshit, they wouldn't have lost these all 4 runoff elections.
Well, it's a lot of that is opinion. I mean, the results of the elections are fact, but if you look at I don't know what's truly going on in the Democratic Party because I'm not in the Democratic Party. And I don't know what's going on the left because I'm not in the left, but I know what I see. And it's really, I wonder if they actually think about what I'm about to say. Think about everything that we've talked about, like the professor who's wearing a mask and hitting kids in the head with bicycle locks and, the baseball bats and the sucker punches and the guy shooting up places and the people sending powder and, death threats and all this, there's so many examples of this crazy behavior that's been going on.
Yeah.
Those same people, look, this and I know this, and on a small scale, the left knows this is true, but they haven't allowed this to become the narrative. If the narrative changes that the Democratic Party stole the nomination from Bernie Sanders and that got Donald Trump elected, these people that are going after Republicans are going to start shooting Democrats.
Well,
they're going to start shooting Hillary Clinton supporters.
Yeah.
They're going to start shooting Donna Brazile. They're going to start shooting Debbie Wasserman Schultz. They're going to start doing shit to the Democratic Party. Because, first of all, historically, we always know that the left, these people, these revolutionaries, they eventually eat themselves.
Okay. Since you segued into this, let me interject. I noticed this week that 3, all happen to be women, 3 left-leaning liberal women have lost their jobs because they've went too far.
Oh, you know what? I did hear that. I did see that.
June Chow, who is a dean of one of Yale's
the Yelp
one
girl.
of one of Yale's colleges. Yeah, she's the Yelp girl. I won't go into details, but you're familiar with her. She was
she basically got into Yelp and was leaving reviews of restaurants, basically calling people white trash and hillbillies.
Exactly.
And she's Asian American.
Yeah, she was placed on leave. And that moves into Susan Parsons, who is a black woman who was on Tucker Carlson's show. And on Tucker Carlson's show, she's like, I'm sorry. That was Lisa Durden. She's a professor at a New Jersey school. I didn't look into it.
The woman that was on Tucker Carlson. I saw that segment.
Yeah, she's like, boo-hoo, you white people.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Are angry because you can't use your white privilege card to get invited to the Black Lives Matter All Black Memorial Day celebration. So she was indefinitely suspended from the school.
Then she came out and said that she was, quote, lynched by the university.
Exactly. And the Susan Parsons, who I mentioned previously, she is the yearbook editor. We talked about her in the last podcast about photoshopping and deleting phrases from the, again, New Jersey.
Oh, was this where the kids were wearing Trump clothes?
Yes. So she was the yearbook editor, the head yearbook editor, and she was suspended for that. So my point is, these are left-wing lunatics who basically for the last 8 years have been able to get away with whatever they want with no repercussions. And things are turning around because we're starting to have repercussions. And these 3 women were basically fired for running their garbage can and doing their crazy moonbat liberal shit.
Well, you know what? No. Let's. You're letting them off the hook, because that's the air cover that they get. I don't know about the person that did the yearbook, but we talked about this, and it was the last podcast or the earlier podcast. We are in the golden age of what I call black racism, and obviously the Asian girl isn't black, but I guess you could say racism against whites. I mean, that woman, that professor that was on Tucker Carlson was a stone cold racist bigot. I watched that and I was like, holy fuck. She basically didn't even have arguments. You literally could have put a white sheet over her and just removed black and insert white, and she'd have been a clucker in fucking 1955.
Oh, yeah.
No
doubt about it.
Stone cold racist, that woman. And, and that's the real problem here is, in politically correct thought, you cannot even acknowledge that there is black racism. I mean, we always say there's, all this racism on the other side, and there's always issues and problems, and we all have to eat that. But, this woman feels that she can get on national TV. That woman, the woman that was in Yelp, she should know better. If she listened to our podcast, we tell people, look, you're always being recorded. You're always this. When you think you're doing stuff in private, you're really not. Yada, 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 yada. The person who did the yearbook thing, they think they're in their own little fish pond, and, things are different now and stories can become national. But the woman, that was an educated, smart, somewhat accomplished
she was
professor.
A dean at one of Harvard's universities.
No, the black woman on Tucker Carlson. She wasn't a Harvard. She
was
like
no. Okay, I thought we were still talking about the Oriental woman.
She's a professor. She's educated.
Yes.
She's successful. Accomplished, and she thought in her brain that she could get on national TV and say, "Boo-hoo, racist, racist, boo-hoo, racist, racist, boo-hoo, racist." And I don't know if maybe she just thought, well, I'm on Fox, so I'm in enemy territory, so I can say whatever I want, or that woman, that is such a learning opportunity of what's really going on in this country, because that is not a person who, like a lot of people that you run into or I used to run into, dude, there's a lot of problems in those communities, but it's because of their situation. It's because of, their environment or, just their circumstances. I'm not making excuses, but, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. This woman doesn't have any of that. This woman should know better. And she not only should know better, she should also realize there's a difference between having your public and private opinions.
Yes.
And that woman got on Tucker Carlson, and it couldn't have been any more dramatic if she pulled out a little Harry Carey sword and committed suicide. I was just like,
yeah.
I was like, this woman's a she's a black clucker, dude. I was like,
well, speaking of political suicide, did you hear about Johnny Depp?
Oh, fuck me. The gay pirate? Hold on. So we're going to have Merlot and gay pirate. And let me write down gay pirate. Yeah, goddamn. Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell everybody what you're talking about. I think I know.
Okay, so
just bump the microphone. Drinking my coffee because I'm fucking.
So Johnny Depp, I think he was over in England.
That's good for him.
What's that?
That's good for him. Be an American and shit on, be from Kentucky and shit on America and England. That's a good for him. Yeah, that's a recipe for success.
Yeah. So his quote was, "I'm not insinuating anything. by the way, this will be in the press and it will be horrible. But when was the last time an actor assassinated a president? Don't worry, I'm not an actor. I lie for a living. Dude, he makes a John Wilkes Booth comment, and it's like, dude, really? They just arrested some wingnut in Illinois for posting Facebook threats threatening to kill Donald Trump. It's like, dude, man, these Hollywood elites are crazy. And not to mention, it just boggles my freaking mind. It's like, did you not learn anything from what's her name with the head?
Oh goddamn, Kathy Griffin.
Yeah, did he like miss the whole news thing about Kathy Griffin?
In these people's universe, dude, any publicity is good publicity. Johnny Depp is broke. He needs money and he needs to save his career because he's out of control. He's one of these dudes. I know a lot more about Hollywood, real Hollywood, than a lot of what's portrayed in the mass media, and a lot of people have reputation. Kind of the real stories about how they're functioning or not functioning or the real life. Johnny Depp. I mean, you don't have to be an expert here to look at him and his behavior to understand that he's a guy. Johnny Depp is on the statistical possibilities list of ending up ODing in a bathroom one day. Or no, I'm serious. I mean, this guy, the only reason this guy hasn't crashed and burned is because he hasn't run out of money. That's his reputation in the business. There's people that if you got, look, Whitney Houston, dude. Whitney Houston was high. Whitney Houston was Whitney Houston, crack is whack. Everybody remembers Whitney Houston when she was this young, she could sing and act and be a runway model, and she's 22 and singing these songs, and that's the image everybody had of Whitney Houston. That was 15 years before she died. Whitney Houston, the only reason Whitney Houston didn't end up in the dope house was because she had enough money that other people went to the dope house for her. Johnny Depp's in that same column. I mean, Johnny Depp is literally in. Look, I'm not saying Johnny Depp is not Emilio Estevez. Who's the other guy? I have what's the guy's name?
Charlie Sheen. Man, Tiger Blood, baby.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Johnny Depp is in the same neighborhood as Charlie Sheen, but they can fucking see each other. I mean, they can see each other. Yeah. And that dude, he has a terrible, terrible reputation.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to totally go off track here.
That's fine. We're already, dude, this fucking podcast. All we're just doing is bitching about all this bullshit.
Okay. I just saw a video clip that okay, you've seen the video clip about the guy on the motorcycle kicking the car and the car crashes and the truck flips over?
I have not seen that.
Oh my God. Okay. It's a road rage thing. Guy's on a motorcycle. I don't know why he does it, but he pulls up beside a car and he kicks the door. The car swerves, hits the concrete abutment, slams into a pickup truck. The pickup truck rolls over on its hood, and the motorcycle guy keeps on going. The cops are looking for the motorcycle guy, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I'm just watching this video clip, and someone superimposed over the motorcycle, it says, Trump tweet, the car that he kicks is labeled liberals, and the truck that flips over on its lid is labeled media. Oh, that's pretty freaking creative.
I've decided, hey, I know what I'm getting you for your next birthday.
The same thing you got me for my last birthday?
No, a helium beer.
A what?
Helium beer.
Helium beer.
This was making the rounds in my office.
I don't drink beer. How about some helium bourbon?
If you could figure out how to do that, I just sent you a video. I want you to. Don't play. Let's see here. Go to. Let's see where they start. I'd go to about the 40. I'd go to about the 25-second mark. There's these guys, and this has been making rounds in the office over here. All the girls been passing around each other. These guys in Germany have bought beer that's impregnated with helium. So when they drink this beer, they sound like the Chipmunks. It's the most hilarious thing.
That's interesting. Here's the thing you've got to ask yourself. How expensive is this beer? And I say that for a reason, because helium is a non-renewable resource, and we're actually running kind of short on helium.
Are we really?
Yeah, that's why helium, that's like when you walk into a store, like helium balloons are not blown up all over the place. I mean, they are during the holidays and stuff, but they don't keep them blown up. They don't like they'll blow them up when you sell them, and the price of them has gone up because helium is in, and I don't know all the fine details, but it's actually in some kind of a shortage.
So basically, you're buzz killing my helium. You're like, hey, running out of helium.
No, hey, if you want to pay, $18 for a 12-ounce bottle of beer, then
I don't drink alcohol. I just thought it was hilarious. I thought about maybe getting some and giving it to you because I didn't know you didn't drink beer and just telling you what it was.
Okay, first off, I would be suspect that if you actually bought me a beer because you don't drink. And you have never, in all the years we've known each other, you have never bought me a beer. You've never bought me booze either, by the way. What the hell's up with that?
Because you don't have tits, that's why.
Okay, valid point. I'll just move on to something else at this point.
No. Truth is, I've never bought a woman a drink in my life.
Yeah.
I've never.
Okay,
I've never had to.
I didn't. Wow. Damn.
Dude, the truth is, I wouldn't know what the fuck to even order. I don't drink alcohol ever. Arliz, you know this, but I couldn't order a drink to save my life. So it would be terrible. So, hey, did you hear about the people that showed up for child welfare for a site visit, a welfare check on children, and a toddler pulled a live gun from his toy box.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I didn't hear about that.
Let me see here. Let me see if I can find this here or not. So anyway, yeah, so it was Toddler shocked investigators who were conducting a child welfare check of his home when he pulled out a loaded gun from his toy box on Tuesday. The 3-year-old was playing with his toys when Boynton Beach officer and an investigator from the Florida Department of Children and Family Services arrived to his home over child neglect allegations. So, I mean, straight up, dude, you know this. When Child Protective, I don't know what I call it CPS. When Child Protective Services requests a police officer for a site visit, they know there's trouble.
Oh yeah.
They don't normally show up with cops. Of course, if you're a listener that doesn't live in a dirtbag world, you wouldn't know that. While officers were speaking to the child's mother, Rosalind Fainall, 34, when the child brandished a loaded pistol that he pulled from his My Little Learning toy box.
No shit.
One of the officers immediately took the black 9mm semi-auto pistol away from the boy. The officer found that there was one bullet in the chamber with the safety off.
What? So it was,
high point. You know, it was a high point. You know what? You want to take we should just do a bet right now. I don't know. I haven't seen a picture of the gun, so I don't know this. I just have the text as it came across on the blotter. Does anybody want to bet me something that it was a high point versus something else?
Well, it had a safety on it, so it wasn't a Glocc. But now that's assuming the person reporting the story knows what the hell they're talking about. Because if it was a Glocc with no safety, it's just, the report could have said, it could have been fired with the pull of the trigger, and they could have just assumed the safety's off. Okay, so it could go either way.
It could go either way.
I mean, because there's not, you could be right. It could be a high point, but then again, it could be the person writing the article just doesn't know dick about guns, and that happens a lot.
Also on the fridge was a black scale and a pink makeup bag filled with 6 plastic bags of white and pink powder. The powder tested positive. I need more coffee for oxycodone and weighed 0.6 grams. She only got a $3,000 bond on that. So, yeah, it was awesome. Boynton Beach, Florida, baby.
So at the end of the day, they failed the home inspection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, this is an interesting side note. She only got a $3,000 bond, so there must not. I don't know. Florida's got some weird laws about if you're caught dealing with a firearm. I mean, in some cases, it can be life in prison on your first day. They've got some really harsh drug laws as far as distribution. So, the fact that there was a firearm in the home and there was drugs, there might not have been enough for distribution. But if there was 6 baggies bagged up, anytime you have it bagged up in small amounts, that can always be a distribution charge. It's weird. I would like to hear more about this story and how it pans out.
You know as well as I do that there's a boyfriend involved in this, and they're looking for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know the boyfriend's the dealer.
Sure.
Yeah. And he probably stuffed that gun in the toy box.
Yeah.
Did you hear what happened at CMP, dude? With their electronic shooting, with their electronic, let's see here. I don't know if it was at the, I don't know if it was at Camp Harry, or if it was it was at Camp Harry, not at the Atterbury, or not Atterbury. Are they not Atterbury? They're at, Monostotalk or whatever now. They've got the facility out there. So June 17th, so Camp Harry has put in a electronic target scoring system. They put it on one of the ranges, Valley Range, and if you're not familiar with Camp Harry, there's a lot of issues with Camp Harry. One, Camp Harry's kind of dying. It just is. The sport's dying, and one of the problems that they're having is it used to be there's rifle pits. Okay, so it used to be that if you went to shoot the national matches at Camp Harry, you would go up there as a shooter. Whether civilian or military, and the Ohio National Guard would work the pits because it's their facility. Well, Howard Metzenbaum, then senator, Democratic senator from like Cleveland or somewhere up there, got all pissed off in the 80s and did not want U.S. taxpayers or soldiers or Ohio, whatever. He didn't want them involved in the matches. So he basically bitched and moaned, and they took the pit workers away. So what you do now at Camp Harry is it's a huge clusterfuck. So the average Camp Harry shooter, they're getting up there in age. So you work them in relays. So you've got, let's say there's 200 shooters. Just to make it easy, people, you have 100 people will go into the pits. They work and score the targets. They work the pits, raise and lower, put the markers in, write the scores, and lift the things up and down. lift the target stands up and down, and then, you know, they finish their match and then they switch. And, you know, they have to do this all throughout the day because it's not just one switch, it's a bunch of switches. And you get people that, you know, they're not that used to working targets. And so, you got shooters in their 60s and 70s that may not be the most athletic people, and they can maybe just barely square up behind a rifle, but, you know, they can't work up there. It's just a huge clusterfuck. And it's made the days even longer. So Camp Perry's been trying to invest in technology for electronic scoring. So what they did is they bought this system. It's all this hardwire stuff, but they set it up in a pit that still had target stands that raised and lowered. And so the system is pretty robust, I guess, when it's static. But if you also are using in conjunction with movable target stands, like people were ripping out wires and breaking connections. So what was happening was they were screwing all these electronics up. So when guys came in to shoot a match on the electronic targets, they ended up having to do a reshoot because some stuff wasn't. They had detected there were people. You know, people were shooting, looking. They're like, that's not right. You know, because they're like, I didn't hit a bullseye, or I did hit a bullseye, or I did this, or I did that, or that. None of this is, you know, like they were like, this isn't adding up. The scoring is on the computer, it's not adding up to what's on the target, and which is scary because, you know, if you end up using a straight electronic target with no paper record, you could really have yourself some issues. Well, they ended up having to do a reshoot, and then they still detected issues. They had to shut the fucking match down. I mean, it's a huge steaming pile.
Wow. That sucks.
I mean, a lot of people, Camp Perry is like this legendary place, but, you know, that's why they moved a bunch of it to Monastic. I can never say the name of that goddamn place. Monostatalk?
Misogynistic.
So, yeah, I was just like, I saw that and I was like, oh God, yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, Metzenbaum was from Ohio, by the way.
Did I say that?
What's that?
Did I say he was from Ohio?
No,
yeah.
You said.
Well, whatever. He's from Ohio, so yeah, I screwed up.
Yeah.
Howard Metzenbaum.
Interesting. Have you been following the Ray Tenzing retrial?
No.
Interesting. I just saw a news blurb that came over like 30 minutes ago that the judge is, after 27 hours of deliberation and unable to reach a decision, the judge is sending him back to deliberate some more. And this is the second trial.
Yeah.
You know, look, the truth is, as much as the people want this guy to be guilty, he's not. And the biggest problem for the prosecution is when the forensic video guys broke his body cam footage down, you know, pixel by pixel, frame by frame. And, you know, look, we'll see what the jury ends up coming with. But if this is the second hung jury, then man, I can't see him pursuing it any further. We'll see.
Yeah, I honestly haven't even followed that much. I just don't know a whole lot about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. It's just look, this guy is.
They paid off his family.
Oh yeah, they sure did, and look, I'm not going to get into all the details. Basically, this was a screw up from the prosecutor from day one. He ran his mouth to the media before he even had all the evidence. The university that he worked for basically just immediately jumped on that and decided to settle when they should have held off. I mean, this whole thing is a cluster, and there's so much egg on people's faces. They have to try to get a conviction out of this to make them look right, you know. And It's a mess. But the truth is, this is one of the last holdovers of the Obama years, man. It's like, white cop shoots black guy, automatically prosecute because he's automatically guilty. Let's jump to conclusions before the evidence. How many of these cases over the last 8 years have we seen the cops exonerated on? Because once all the evidence comes in and once everything's through, it turns out they were right.
Yeah, I honestly don't know enough about this case to I don't know enough of the details on it. I know it was a people were upset about on both sides about this shooting. People that are listening to this, the police officer ended up shooting somebody. We don't want to get to the basic gist of it was it's a school police officer. He's a police officer of a college, so he's not a normal city police officer. And he did a traffic stop for, what was it, like expired tags or
something
tail light
like
or something. He did a traffic stop on this guy, and it ended up being a fatal shooting.
Yeah, it was a bullshit stop, but being that it still was a legitimate pullover. I mean, look, if anyone wants to see the details, they can go online and Google it. It's out there. There's all kinds of shit. You can read up on it. We don't need to go into
an old cop friend of mine. He's black. He used to have a saying, and this is a quote from him. Okay, he's a black cop. He retired. He 30 years service, maybe 40. He said rust and warrants go together.
Wow, that's that's a true statement.
That's him talking. He's not busy, and
that's not the political correct way to put it, but everyone knows it's true.
Mm-hmm. People that don't take care of the business don't tend to not take care of their business.
Well, look, it's kind of like this.
Then I got the best headline for you because it's funny, and we're going to end on this. So go ahead.
Okay, it's kind of like this. It's 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. You're driving. You've got a car that's, that is not a piece of shit. It's a decent looking car, no rust, no dents. You don't have your music blaring, full blast. You have, you're driving normal, not erratic. Odds are you're not going to get pulled over. Now, take the same scenario and have a beat up POS with jacked up wheels and your stereo cranking loud and you got one tail light out. Truth is, man, you're just, and it doesn't matter if you're black, white, Oriental, Martian, whatever. You're more likely to get pulled over.
Hey, did you tell me that the dopers were putting fentanyl in pot now?
I did. Yeah. Think about that. Think about that.
Because I don't know what the game is anymore because I'm out of the game. So, are people seeking out pot with fentanyl on purpose because they're on the horse, or are they just like potheads buying marijuana and then all of a sudden getting hit with? Opiate?
Okay. Now this is my speculation. Don't take this as gospel truth. But the pot on the street that everyone wants is the medical marijuana because it's strong, it's potent, and it gets you higher than the regular homegrown imported crazy shit.
Yeah, all these people are always trying to find new strains, and they got all these different names for this pot. And
yeah, exactly. So what these people are doing is they're mixing fentanyl with the pot to make
And telling people it's like
pot.
red bud or something?
Yeah, basically to make the pot more potent than if you just smoked the regular pot, it wouldn't be as, it wouldn't get you as high as medical pot because that's what everyone wants. And they're, obviously, they're not going to pay as much for, for weak ass pot. So what they're doing is they're putting the fentanyl in the pot to make it more potent. And well, here's the problem with fentanyl in pot. When you die, there's no way they can, it takes the autopsy to find you had the fentanyl in the pot, or they have to analyze any pot that you have left, because, if you're buying a bag of pot on the street, you don't know if it's got it in it. There's no way to tell. It's not like it's a different color or has a different smell.
I am fairly certain that I have never seen fentanyl.
I've seen fentanyl in two forms. I've seen it in the patches, of course, which is its most typical form for cancer patients. And I've seen it in suckers or lollipops. They make fentanyl lollies.
The kids are making it?
No. The pharmaceutical companies make it.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're like lollipops. People that are on fentanyl can, get it through a patch. And I've seen the suckers or lollipops or whatever the hell you want to call them.
Huh. That's, why does somebody need a fentanyl lollipop?
Well, people that basically, okay, first off, when you're on fentanyl, you got some serious major problems with you.
I didn't know anyone that's on fentanyl. I know that there's oxy that people are on.
No. People that are on fentanyl, either there's two types of people that get prescribed fentanyl. It's actually fentanyl, I believe, is the way it's pronounced.
Okay.
There's two types of people that get it. Cancer patients that are terminal and the pain is so bad, regular opiates, like Dilaudid, not Dilaudids, like your oxys and your, I guess it's Dilaudid. Anyway, it's basically, with the exception of like pumping morphine into your body, it's the strongest you can get as far as painkiller. And obviously, if you're at home or walking around or doing whatever you're doing, you can't shoot yourself up with morphine. So they give you the fentanyl patches. I know several people that had terminal cancer that are dead now because of the cancer who had fentanyl patches. And the other person is someone who's being seen by a pain management person who, they have so much chronic pain due to back issues or whatever. It's basically debilitates them to where they can't function without some kind of a hardcore pain, pain thing. So what they'll do is they'll give them a lower dose than a patch. And look, the dosage of fentanyl is low anyway, because
oh God, yeah, it's there's officers that are they're just getting, like dust of it and it's dropping them.
Well, let me put it to you this way. You could take one regular fentanyl patch and cut it into 4 squares. And a fentanyl patch is about maybe 2 inches by 2 inches in that area. And you could take one of those patches, cut it into 4 squares, and I could stick one on me, you could stick one on you, and we could find 2 other victims to stick them on, and we would all 4 die. We would, because your system has to be built up so you have to be so opiate tolerant for this to not kill you. This shit is no joke. And the thing is, actually, I know a person who, a lot of these cancer patients, what they'll do is go to bed and their family will find them the next morning dead, and they just attribute it to, cancer. But what'll happen is they'll find 3 or 4 fentanyl patches on them because the pain has gotten so bad. They put 1 patch on, doesn't work, 2 patch doesn't work, 3 patch doesn't, they build up to it, and basically they overdose themselves.
So there are people that are killing themselves with fentanyl patches. If theoretically, if you wanted to, instead of blowing your brains out, you just get some fentanyl patches?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow, well, I've never heard of that.
Okay, it's the same. Okay, look, this is like the ugly truth that the medical community doesn't tell people. Yeah, cancer patients will OD themselves, not intentionally, but they do it because of the pain. But look, these are terminal people anyway. So they don't really go into it, in deep. Like, for example, you have a family member in hospice, and they're knocking on death's door. The whole family's gathered around, and they got labored breathing, and the doctor will come in and say, well, you know what, we're going to give them a little bit of morphine just to ease the pain. Well, that morphine's not to ease the pain. That morphine's to kill them.
We're going to get a letter.
I don't care. It's the truth, and anyone in the medical field knows that.
We're going to get a goddamn letter now. I just hope you're proud of yourself, because you don't ever get the fucking letters. I get the goddamn letters.
Well, forward it to me, and I'll deal with it. But look, what that does is when they give them the shot of morphine, it basically relaxes everything, and basically it stops the lungs from working. It stops the heart from working. But look, this person is dying, and they're having a labored death. And the morphine just allows them to slip into death peacefully.
Yeah, hospice
and it's done every day. Now, they don't tell the family they're going to do that. They tell the family it's just like, well, we're just going to help them out. But after they give them that shot of morphine, it's not long after that, then they just slip into death. And it's a good thing, because no one,
So Jack Kevorkian was right all these years, and all this argument around assisted suicide was really just by big hospice. Hospice.
No, not really. Look, and anyone who's been around a loved one's deathbed and the doctor came in and gave them morphine and they died shortly thereafter is listening to this might be mad. But the truth is, they shouldn't be mad. They should be grateful that the doctor just helped their loved one pass peacefully.
That's why you go to hospice. So yeah.
Exactly. Look, and these are the simple truths, and these are things that no one talks about because no one wants to hear it.
Hey, your SIG P320 is getting more traction.
Yeah.
North Dakota Highway Patrol has now picked up the SIG P320.
Nice.
Because if it's good enough for the Army, it's good enough for me.
Yeah.
And people better get ready.
Well,
Hey, do you remember? We're just kind of this is just a big bullshit podcast. Do you remember the big fire in London where the high-rise building? Like, there were photographs, and you were like, I saw this, and I was like, oh fuck, they set this on fire. This is like a terrorist attack. Do you remember that? Like last week?
Over in England?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't pay much attention to it. I saw the headlines.
They call it Grenfell Tower.
Yeah.
And, they were like, I think the last I heard it was 30 deaths attributed to that, possibly to that event. Literally, this, I don't know how many stories this thing is. Let's say it's, 30 stories tall, 30 or 40 stories tall. Literally, every goddamn floor from almost to the ground was on fire. It was like, how is that even possible? Well, guess what? They figured out how. All the Greens did it. All the environmentalists.
Really?
Not directly. Yeah. What they did, here's what they're calling it. That catastrophic event materialized in early morning hours of June 14th, an inferno that engulfed the Grenfell Tower high-rise in Kensington, West London, which is a nice neighborhood. There are almost 3,000 similarly clad buildings across the United Kingdom. UK officials since 1999 had warned of the risk of using environmentally friendly exterior insulation on buildings, only to be ignored by environmentalists. So it's some kind of, quote, green, they're calling it cladding. So it's some kind of you know, I mean, I the way they're describing it, it almost sounds like pink insulation, but it's something they roll on the outside of these buildings.
And what's the purpose for this?
It's insulation. You know, heating and cooling insulation of the building.
Yeah. Okay.
Because people that, if you haven't spent a lot of time in high-rise buildings, especially if they're not being blocked by other buildings, the sun, depending on where you're facing, can heat them motherfuckers up. I tell you what, I was like, whoa, it's hot as hell in here. Well, this building, something caught on fire, and basically it just raced up and down. It literally raced up and down in the exterior walls.
Yeah.
And they say there's how many of these buildings in the UK?
I have no clue.
Let's see. Here we go. They said there's thousands of these buildings. Let's see. Here's the fireman. I've never seen a fire that has engulfed an entire building like this in a career of more than 30 years. Chief of the Fire Brigades Union said, "It could be that this is the quest for sustainability trumping other concerns." I mean, they are dancing around this. This is the UK. There has been some emerging body of evidence surrounding some of the materials being used, and now we have an appalling demonstration of what can happen. Grenfell Tower was clad in the environmentally friendly exterior in 2015 as part of a $13 million retrofit. The cladding is used to make buildings more energy sustainable and meet green energy regulations. Next quote is devastating. "It is not a stretch to say that environmentalists were partially responsible."
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. I wonder if that will make the news in the U.S. That is just, oh my God, that is just terrible.
Well,
so
if you're an environmentalist, wow, this doesn't bode well for you, because now anytime you want to talk about being green, they're like, well, you know what? But we don't want to kill 30 people.
So okay, we're gonna have a little game here, because I got to get through a bunch of these, and we're gonna go ahead and shut this one down. So, who do you think had a worse day? The rapper by the name of 40 Glocc, or a burglar in, please be Florida, Bibb County. Where's Bibb County at? It doesn't look like Florida. The rapper 40 Glocc, and you'll like this. 40 Glocc, he spells his name Glocc, because if he uses Glock, he'll get sued by Glocc. Ask me how I know.
Yeah.
Rapper 40 Glocc, or a burglar who was burglarizing a home in Florida. Who had a worse day?
I have no clue who 40 Glocc is.
Well, here's the answer. 40 Glocc is a rapper who was at a funeral, and he was walking to his car from the funeral and got shot twice.
Wow, is he dead?
I think he's alive. Okay, so that's 40 Glocc.
Okay.
And then the guy in Florida, Bibb County Sheriff said a burglar fleeing a female resident turned around and shot back into the house, striking his burglary accomplice in the head and killing him on the spot.
Nice.
So, two burglars were running from a girl. They're in a house. They must have been surprised that there was a woman there, and so they went to run, and one of them sent around behind him and shot his buddy in the head as he was running.
Nice.
So, he's now caught a murder charge.
Well, here's the thing. I can see it, too, because I've seen so many times the run-and-shoot stance where they're running with their back and they stick their arm behind them with their gun out sideways and start pulling the trigger. I mean, it's the run-and-shoot thing. I mean, I've seen so many of that. That is so nice. And he popped his buddy in the head.
Not only shot his buddy, but actually got a headshot.
Yeah,
he was DRT. They found him right there on the stoop.
I'm gonna chime in and say the home invasion guy had a worse day than 40 Glocc, because look,
40 Glocc hasn't caught any charges, you don't think?
Well, no. Here's the thing. okay, first his name's 40 Glocc, and he was at a funeral, which probably, and I'm going to step out on a limb here and say it was one of his gangbanger buddies who was killed in a drive-by or a bad drug deal. And he was shot because basically that's the world he revolves in, and I mean, guys like that get shot all the time. That doesn't actually shock me. The fact that two dudes were running away and the guy did the run and shoot thing and actually popped his buddy in the head. Pretty impressive, I have to say.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say the home invasion guy had a worse day than 40 Glocc.
Okay. So you know what El Camino is, right? Of course you do.
Yes. Yeah, of course I do.
Did you know they're bringing it back?
No, I didn't, but who cares?
You don't like the El Camino, dude?
Okay, look, I am so over bringing back the old retro muscle cars.
Okay, I thought you were going to be happy as fuck.
Mustang, Camaro, Charger, Challenger.
Mustang never went away.
Yeah, but they've
been making...
No,
Camaro never went away. Well, maybe it's a trans.
No. I mean, they've been making these cars forever, but now they're making them to look like the old, 68, 69, 70 muscle cars. I am so fucking over that. Look, the El Camino was a worthless car. I mean, they're cool cars, but I mean, it was worthless as it's not a car. It's not a pickup truck. It's some kind of satanic morphed hybrid.
Oh, dude.
Well, look, you drop a 396 in an old El Camino, like I think 68, 69s came with big block 396s, but it's a pickup truck rear end, which means it's light as fuck in the back, so it doesn't get any traction. I mean, they're not fast, even though they got a big block 396. Put it up against a Chevelle with the same engine, the Chevelle's going to kick its ass every time.
Well,
so bringing it back today for $70,000, awesome.
Well, the thing is, it turns out it's fake anyway.
Oh,
so
okay.
Somebody had. But I was like, we could get like one of those Diamondback covers, and then we could keep guns in the back, and we could put a 4-wheeler up on the Diamondback cover, and then it wouldn't even have steep ramps. It'd be a great range car for us.
It's $70,000.
Okay. All right. I got two more, and these are my last two, and this is life lessons here. The first one is, if you date or if you get involved with the wrong woman, it can ruin your life.
Okay.
Broward County, Florida again. Broward County elementary school teacher who tipped off drug dealers that they were under investigation should spend the next 8 years in federal prison because the consequences of her actions were so serious. So, here's what happened. A woman was married to a cop.
Yeah.
And she wasn't happy. And he worked dope. I believe he probably worked dope. He's a dope cop.
Okay.
So Portia Session of Boynton Beach, she basically decided to have her husband killed, and what she did is she tipped off the dopers that her husband was a cop and they killed him.
Oh, that sucks.
That's terrible.
That sucks. Isn't that the second Boynton Beach thing you mentioned tonight?
Yeah, second Florida for sure. But you know what? But yeah. Texas is going to bring it home, baby. Texas is going to bring it home. This is the best headline of the history of this podcast. SWAT arrests Texan for shooting at newspaper deliverer mistaken for stripper.
What?
SWAT, so it's a SWAT call, arrests Texan, everything's bigger in Texas, for shooting at, he is a newspaper delivery guy, and his justification for shooting at the newspaper delivery guy was he thought it was a stripper. I guess he has a problem with a stripper.
Okay. First off, this is why SWAT guys are assholes.
What?
No offense, SWAT guys. Wow. So he shot a...
No. This wasn't a SWAT member that turned into a SWAT call.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying SWAT guy shot the stripper.
Not only, yeah. So first I'm getting goddamn letters, and now I'm getting nasty phone calls and text messages, you fucking dickhead. Fuck. Dude, they listen to this fucking podcast. God, fuck me, dude. You're so quick to throw people under the bus. Okay. Round Rock, Texas police officers dispatch a SWAT team to deal with a man who reportedly chased and eventually shot at an SUV driven by a newspaper courier. The officers engaged Mark Harley Ferguson, 41, in a 5-hour standoff. SWAT officers eventually negotiated his surrender, so they didn't have to make entry. The newspaper delivery man called the police to report a vehicle chasing him. The man said the driver chasing him eventually began shooting. He said the incident began when he was parked and a man, later identified as Ferguson, approached his van carrying a flashlight. As the man ran towards the vehicle, the newspaper delivery man said he heard a gunshot which struck his SUV. He quickly fled the scene. An examination of the van by police investigators turned up a bullet hole in the vehicle, and the bullet fell into the bumper, so they even recovered the bullet for ballistics.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so the car ate the bullet, which is not uncommon. Police found the suspect by checking local calls for service. Check this out. In checking the calls from homes in the area, police discovered that Ferguson had a history of calling police reporting people living in his attic. Police said the suspect appeared to be depressed and delusional. While on the phone with police, Ferguson said his home had been burglarized and he was hiding in the closet. Police said Ferguson eventually admitted he had chased the vehicle. The man denied having a gun or shooting at the SUV. Okay, there's free commercial coming up here. He said he chased the SUV because he believed the vehicle belonged to a stripper who worked at Rick's Cabaret. I don't know why.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know, is Rick's Cabaret sending out muscle to pick up tip money? I mean,
hell, I don't know. I mean, wow. Well, I mean, obviously, it goes without saying the guy is totally freaking nuts.
Well, yeah, he's nuts, and this is look, this is just like the terrorist attacks that we're seeing all the time in Europe or in England and Europe. It never fails that shit happens. And then the authorities get involved, and they go, "Oh yeah, he was on our watch list." So,
yeah.
Does that mean the system worked? The reality is we have all these people running around that needs to be institutionalized. This guy, we're lucky he didn't show up at Rick's Cabaret and gun down a bunch of Rick's girls. I'm hoping they were girls.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is there's our entire mental health system and the way we function as a society with all this stuff is complete bullshit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like this guy who shot up the GOP people, dude. You know as well as I do that wasn't his first rodeo, and sure enough, he's got all kinds of shit in his background. I mean, his goddamn he drove his one foster child so crazy she killed herself by setting herself on fire.
Yeah, I know. And look, you have to be a certain kind of crazy to actually set yourself on fire.
Oof.
I mean, no, that's a bad way to go.
Oh, dude. I mean, and it's just, I mean, these people are out there, and people know that they're there. I mean, look, there is no way this Rick's Cabaret guy, a free commercial for Rick's Cabaret. This episode of the John1911 Podcast brought to you by Rick's Cabaret. We have our first sponsor.
Now you're talking about me getting letters.
Fuck, I forgot. So, but it's like, don't tell me that all the people that lived on, Bufu Street in Round Rock, Texas, this guy, oh yeah, he was so great. I'm sure this guy was like the neighborhood watch captain. You know what I mean? I'm sure he was, everyone just loved this dude.
Oh, look, I guarantee you every one of this guy's neighbors hated him because they knew he was crazy.
Avoided him or knew there was problems.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this will not be a shocker when more information comes out about them.
It probably come out down there. It won't come out because
Yeah, I know.
Because the NBC wants to talk about the goddamn Russians, and I want to hear about Rick's Cabaret in Round Rock, Texas, because I want to know how the hell that works. Because apparently Rick's has got it going on. So they got a collections department or something. Look, I've been to a lot of strip clubs. Ain't nobody ever given me credit. I'm mad.
Hey, look. I don't know if Rick's Cabaret delivers, or yeah. I mean, maybe they were collecting. Maybe his last tip just wasn't generous enough. I don't know. I don't know what the case is, but
I'm trying not to Google Rick's Cabaret, Texas, because I'm afraid what'll pop up on my computer. Be like, please, if I die, please God, erase my browser history.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what? That's why you get one of those little devices. It's kind of like a Fitbit, but what happens is if your pulse stops, it smokes your hard drive.
Is that real?
No, I just made that shit up.
That sounds like a good business.
It does, doesn't it? No, I totally made that up.
Yeah, it reminds me of the guy that went to what the hell's there's a strip club in New York City that's really, really famous. There's a couple real famous strip clubs in the country and around the world. Some of them are chains and some are individuals. There's, Mons Venus down south, and
the only strip club that I know is the one in Vegas, and it's Cheetahs.
Cheetahs. There's a Cheetahs.
There's
Cheetahs everywhere.
Probably Cheetahs everywhere.
I tried to get you to go to a Cheetahs when we were looking at that airplane, and you were like, I hate giving whores money.
Was that a Cheetahs?
It was a Cheetahs.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know strip clubs. I don't go there because I don't give whores money.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I was like, there was. Well, anyway, this strip club.
And I apologize to any stripper listening to this podcast.
Yeah, we're not going to get that money. Like what was there was this Howard Stern used to always talk about this strip club, and it's a real famous because it's in New York, and New York's a high dollar place, and so it's a high dollar club and high dollar people, and like a lot of the Wall Street people. I mean, a lot of business happens in this particular club. I think it might be near Wall Street. I've never been there. But some guy went in there, and I don't know. He had a company card, and he put like $20,000. The guy was like the CEO of some big company, and he put maybe it was $200,000. I mean, it was a lot of money.
That's some serious lap dancing going on.
Yeah, lap dancing.
We'll call it. You can't see my air quotes, but we'll call it lap dancing.
Yeah, private show.
Hey, I'll tell you what, even for a private show, I mean, look, I know girls that'll do it for a freaking cheeseburger.
I know. We talked about her. We shouldn't talk ill about the dead. So, but anyway, this guy, I don't know if it was like 20,000 or 200,000. It might have been 200,000. It was some crazy number. And so they sued. Like, basically, he was saying he was so inebriated that the strip club shouldn't have allowed him to be able to make those kinds of purchases.
To buy everyone in the bar a stripper?
Yeah, or something. And I can't even remember if he lost it or if he won it. Then there's other people that have lost or won those because, and it's like, damn, most I've ever had is I went to a gun store once and they knew me and I didn't have any money on me and there was a gun there and, I was looking at it and they were like, you going to buy that? I'm like, I don't have any money on me today. They're like, we know you're good for it. Just fill out the 4473 and come back later. That's a true story. To this day, I love that gun store for that. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's apparently, but I've never gotten credited. Look, I don't go to strip clubs. I mean, I've been this, I've been all over the world in all kinds of strange places. So, I've been in I've been in all kinds of places, so I don't frequent strip clubs because I don't give whores money either. So, so anyway, I just was like, well, what the hell is that about? All right.
Yeah, I don't give whores money. Whores give me money.
So, I mean, Megyn Kelly better be careful. If she doesn't get her ratings up, she might be featuring at Rick's Cabaret. So,
hey, right. Hey, I'll tell you what. If Megyn Kelly goes to Rick's Cabaret and starts working, I will make it a point to fly down to Rick's and stick $1 in her garter.
See, there is something you like about Megyn Kelly. Okay, everybody, this wraps episode 66 of the John1911 Podcast. If you like this podcast and what we're doing, this one's a little bit different today. Please think about leaving us some feedback on iTunes. I don't know if iHeartRadio has feedback, positive, negative, whatever. Leave us some feedback. I mean, just so we know what you think, and we'll take it under consideration. Special promotional consideration to our sound engineer, Mitch, for making us look good. And just remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun. Everybody, have a good day.
See you later.